tea's out of balance, your health is not so good. That's getthetea.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. Carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. .com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's getthetea.com.
Get free shipping. Go to getthetea.com, entering OAS.
Got too much stuff? You want to lower your worldly possessions footprint a little? Sell that stuff to somebody else. You don't need it anymore, but somebody out there is looking for one. You gotta find them. Put an ad in the radiogram. That's what we do. Bring people together. Radiogram, finding buyers for sellers and vice versa, and all the while making us feel better about ourselves. Come to our office at 505 North Key. We'll get right to work on your case. Radiogram, the classified ads that work.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong.
Mentor not just the players who played for him, but players and coaches who also went against him. There will never be another like him.
President Trump plans to go to Kenosha, Wisconsin tomorrow. The mayor says he shouldn't. From the scene of protests over the police shooting of Jacob Blake, Mr. Trump is in a verbal battle with Portland's mayor over protests. Karen Stacy of the Financial Times spoke with the FDA chief, Stephen Hahn, about possibly fast-tracking a COVID-19 vaccine.
This is an emergency, he told me, and the normal rules don't apply. We have to get something out as fast as we can, and if the data suggests that something is both safe and effective, then I'll approve it even before these trials are over.
CBS News Brief. I'm Steve Kathan.
CBS Money Hog of death by disease
Wall Street hopes to finish the month on a high note.
Doctors point out
the
that
best
tobacco use
August
accounts for
stock
almost one-third of all cancer deaths in America.
On Friday, the Dow added 100 points. Operations of TikTok can't be sold without China. The country's Ministry of Commerce issued new rules that ban or restrict certain technologies for export. Microsoft and Walmart and other companies have been looking at acquiring the social media company, which has been under pressure in the U.S. over security concerns. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more at CBSMoneyWatch.com. I'm Nancy Ruckham.
When you need your bank, Capital One is right in the palm of your hand, so you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from your phone with a top-rated app. This is Banking Reimagined. Get started online anytime. What's in your wallet? Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Lifestyles.
And we continue with Our American Stories and Laura Sandifer's story. She's the co-founder of Acton Academy. And let's return to Laura on thinkers and doers that have shaped Acton's model, starting with this guy named Socrates.
Well, Socrates was the ancient Greek who taught young people through only asking questions. And one of his famous quotes that we think about a lot is the wisest man in the world because he knew nothing. So he is our great questioner, and his method of not only just asking questions, but a deep faith and trust in young people to discover truth on their own. Those are grounding ideas for us at Acton Academy. We also have as one of our heroes that contributed to our design of Acton, Maria Montessori. So the Italian physician who observing them And instead of having a learning system done to children, she actually followed the child and came up with a brand new way of looking at the learning environment. She worked with and abandoned basically, and found that when she created an environment and gave them choice and work to do, they, academically progressed to catch up with children who had been in fine learning institutions. Her belief that following the child, trusting them to work at their own pace, but setting up the environment for them to be able to make choices and solve their own problems was critical. She also was the person who believed that the mixed ages, that peer-to-peer learning was critical. So her science really is solid and has been proven, obviously, over the century that people have been using Maria Montessori's method. But her ideas of children making choices but being bound with goals to have freedom of choice, but we also know that having boundaries, clear consequences for crossing a boundary is critical. But what I claim most from Maria Montessori that helps me every single day is she came to this as a scientist. So every day it was with fresh eyes, watching as if for the first time what a child was doing. I think so often as adults, teachers, parents, we carry baggage around our thoughts about children, what they did the day before, and we're still frustrated. Baggage at the door. Walk in with fresh eyes. It changes everything in how you deal with children. So that's what I love a lot about what Maria Montessori brought to the world. Another who but he basically put a computer, like an ATM machine kind of computer, in the middle of these slums and had cameras and just watched what would happen. His theory was children can learn without teachers. And his studies are just so shockingly wonderful that he found children gathering around the computer, never having worked with one before. And pretty soon they were hacking in and found the Disney website, and then they suddenly were learning English, and it became chaotic and crazy. And then he observed that it was the 12-year-old girls who came in and started organizing the young people. His work was so profound because it really, for the first time in recent years, put into question the role of teacher. He came and visited Acton Academy and has been just a wonderful friend and mentor to us. So Sugata Mitra is another one. But one that I think was a really special friend and hero to us was a man named Oliver DeMille. He wrote a book called The Thomas Jefferson Education, Teaching a Generation of Leaders for the 21st Century. And we were just intrigued with his thoughts, and so invited him over to our house. And as we were sitting there talking in our living room, he started sharing about his own background. And he said that even though his parents were teachers and they didn't watch a lot of television or have lots of videos in their house, it was all based on books in their house. He couldn't read for longer than he was supposed to not be able to read. And he went to school, and his father was the principal of the school, and he was performing pretty badly on the tests. And so the school district decided that he should be sent to the special education class for the students with special learning needs. And so he was dragged away from his friends and put into the special class, and he described how worried he was as a child and how scared and sad he was to be put in this situation. And then after not too long, his father walked into that classroom and took him by the hand and just walked him out and led him down the hall to the advanced class and opened the door and just said to Oliver, "You belong here." And Oliver shared that with those words, everything changed. And sure enough, he became a fluent reader and a wonderful thinker. But what he said changed Jeff and me, because he said, "My father taught me that no one should work with children unless they believe that each child is a genius." And it was his conversation with us that day that made us really pursue that one idea. Each child is a genius, and we would never, ever hire anyone who thought otherwise or questioned that belief. So those are a few of the mentors and heroes we pulled from. And Sal Khan, also of Khan Academy, was an early hero of ours and has become a friend, and we just admire so much what he has done for the world by freeing up young people to learn anything through Khan Academy.
And at their own pace, Laura, which is so important for learning. It is, I think, what technology has delivered to the individual learner that nothing else had ever been able to do like it before. Talk about the role of technology. You've got Socrates, and this is before Christ, and you've got technology in someone like Sal Khan, who was born probably, in the 1960s or 70s, maybe even 80s. Talk about the merger of old and new, but particularly the role of technology in Acton Academy.
Well, to me, technology is what frees us all to learn anything. It makes the one, because through those programs, they adapt to where you are, and you get feedback just for your own work. Astounding. And it's not necessarily fun. We think of technology as a tool. We don't think it's the be-all, end-all to everything, but it's a magnificent tool when you know how to use it. So we use this tool, but we also know that more importantly than the technology is the mindset of the person using it and being purposeful in why you're using it. So, you've heard the saying, if the only tool you have is a hammer, you see everything as a nail. We know that technology can do some things, but it can't do everything. And what we have found is most important is a human relationship behind the tool of technology. So having a mentor or a guide who supports you and encourages you when you feel like quitting, having a culture, an ethos behind you when you move to work with these technological tools. I've taken a lot of online courses that I end up just quitting halfway through because I just don't feel the personal connection or the necessity to finish. I got what I needed and I just leave it. And I think that that's not what we want. What we really want is people to know what tool to use and when to use it, and then get off and do something meaningful in the world with it.
And you're listening to Laura Sandifer, Courage to Grow, How Acton Academy Turns Learning Upside Down. Is a terrific read. Go to Amazon and buy it. Also, to learn more about attending an Acton Academy or launching one in your neighborhood, go to actonacademy.org. My goodness, it's so true what Montessori taught Laura, the lesson, that primary one of the fact that we all carry baggage, ours and the baggage about our own children, and we've got to leave that at the door every day. Look forward, not backwards. And also, Mitra's studies in India. Kids can learn without teachers. You bet. And of course, DeMille and that lesson that the father taught the son about genius being in every child. When we come back, more of this remarkable story, this great education story, a love story, as Laura so well put it, because in the end, that's what really, really teaching is all about. More with Laura Sandifer, her story, and Acton Academy's story, here on Our American Story.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. We're the producers
We're the producers
at Our American Stories,
on Our American Network.
and we would like to hear your story.
If you or someone you know has an interesting story that you would like to share with America,
Simply email us a picture and a paragraph
A picture and a paragraph.
to your story at ouramericannetwork.org.
just a picture and a paragraph?
Yep, that's all you need.
And you or someone you know serve in the military?
Tell us about it. Send a picture and a paragraph to
Your story at ouramericannetwork.org.
Did you or someone you know have something dramatic happen?
We want to know about it.
Send a picture of yourself and a paragraph describing
For the world.
has someone ever done something for you that changed your life?
Share it with us.
Share it with us.
Share it with us.
Or just having a bad day?
We want to hear about it. We want to hear about it. Share your story with us on Our American Stories.
Your story is important to us.
And our listeners.
To share your story,
Simply email us a picture and a paragraph.
your story at ouramericannetwork.org.
G'day, I'm Scott from Plug-in Pest Free. I want to personally thank all my Plug-in Pest Free customers who have taken the time out to call, write, and who have left messages to thank me for ridding their homes and businesses of unwanted rodent and pest problems. So from me to you, I thank you. Plug-in Pest Free is the only scientifically tested and, more importantly, consumer-proven electromagnetic pest management system since 1995. Why put up with those annoying rodents and pests any longer? Plug-in Pest Free is 100% chemical-free, making it your safest bet to manage your rodent and pest problems around your family and pets. With a 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. So order yours today at gopestfree.com. Use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off and free shipping. That's gopestfree.com, promo code RADIO20. Don't spray and regret. Plug in and forget. Gopestfree.com today.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Lone Star Transfer. If you are a timeshare owner and you think back to the day you bought your little piece of heaven, it probably was a good thought. The reality now is that you probably never use your timeshare and have continued to pay those annual maintenance fees. We at Lone Star Transfer are here to help you get out of this ongoing burden in an effective, quick, and legal way. We have over 8,000 happy customers to prove it. Call us today for a free, no-obligation consultation at 844-284-4863 or visit us online at LoneStarTransfer.com.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite. Dynovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Liquor Chops, get the 3rd bottle free.
Newly improved Liquor Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Liquor Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Christian Faith Publishing is looking for Christian authors of all types of books. And unlike most publishers, Christian Faith Publishing reviews each and every book submitted to them, and they give you their feedback. And if they like what they read, they'll get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, the Apple iTunes Store, Barnes & Noble, and other outlets. They handle everything: editing, cover design, copyright protection, printing, publicity, and distribution. So whether you've written an inspirational work, a novel, a children's book, poetry, or a biography, and want to get it published, you need to call Christian Faith Publishing and do it immediately. Call 800-723-4587 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-723-4587. Again, for your free author submission kit, call 800-723-4587. That's 800-723-4587. Work with a publisher who shares your core Christian values of integrity and honesty. Call Christian Faith Publishing at 800-723-4587 for your free author submission kit.
And we continue with Our American Stories in the final portion of our 2-part story with Laura Sandifer, co-founder of Acton Academy, a network of over 270 parent-created but student-led schools across the world. Let's return to Laura.
There's truth in this world, and the human relationship is something that none of us can really undo. The human drive to have a life that is meaningfully connected to others is probably the most motivating factor for anything. So the questions that we have that drive the Acton journey, I think are important for all humans. And this is why some of the most transformed people we deal with are the parents whose children go to Acton, because maybe people haven't asked them these questions. And the 3 big questions we deal with are, did I accomplish something meaningful? Was I a good person? Whom did I love and who loved me? So this idea is, we all want to learn, but the idea of learning is so that you can do something with it. The end of the hero's journey is not just finding the treasure. The end of the hero's journey is returning home that treasure to help others. So all of this is about doing something meaningful for the world, because that's what haunts our hearts. And that's why the ancient Greece, those myths, they're all about the haunting of doing something important in your life. I remember in my own life, I, after college, went into aviation insurance, and I lived in London and then in New York City, and I remember sitting in a cubicle. I was on the 52nd floor of this high-rise, and I lived in Brooklyn, but would take the subway straight into the bottom of my building and take the elevator up, and it was one winter night, so at 5 o'clock it was already pitch dark, and I remember sitting there in that cubicle going, I haven't seen the sky in days, and there's a possibility I could wake up 10 years from now and still be in this cubicle and rarely have seen the sky. And it was in that moment of literal darkness, but also psychological darkness. I thought, this is called to do, although, you know, it was odd, and for some people that would be great. And it was at that moment that I said, I've got to go back. I want to be in an environment where people are learning all the time. And I went to my boss and I said, I'm so sorry, but I want to be a teacher. And he looked at me and just said, good for you. I'm really excited you made that decision. And we said goodbye, and I went back and got my master's. But it was that haunting feeling that I think is what drives us as humans, whether we acknowledge it or not. And what we're doing is simply acknowledging it and calling it out and saying, you deserve to find a calling and change the world.
So talk about growth, your worries, and where you are now.
The parents part of this equation is the hardest part of all, because it's a stretch for parents to send their child to an acting academy, not just because, you know, it's a private school, and I know there are financial sacrifices, even though we try to keep it as low cost as possible. But the stretch is we embrace failure and we don't intervene when there's a struggle, and we don't tell your child what to do. So for parents to enter into that is a big leap from what our culture asks of parents. I think parents identify with, you know, it's important to parents to have their children be achieving good things because it makes them look like a good parent. We kind of take the opposite approach, and it's really hard for parents. So I admire the parents who join us. It's a stretch, and we actually, part of my job is simply encouraging parents when things get hard. But we had a few courageous parents start from the very beginning, and if it weren't for them, none of this would have happened. But they trusted us. I think a turning point for me was when we did start to grow, because other people thought, oh, this is a place where children are happy, and I just want my child to be happy. So people started to apply, and I would accept them, and then when things got hard, they would want to quit and they would leave, and